Hi guys, welcome to our first episode, or not our first. See, my bro mentioned. Hey, welcome to our third show of Ranger Games, our new show, and with my co-hosts. Go ahead, Joel.
Now it's me. Hi, Joel.
Jim.
So, as you're going to see, this is going to be quite a lit show. If you are a veteran, if you are friends of a veteran, if you are, if you have a veteran in your family, if you are aspiring to be a veteran, and you are serving, thank you for your service.
Or
First of all,
veteran.
You're
an adopted veteran.
And if you are to adopt a veteran, this is the show that you're going to want to watch. If you're a civilian, just watch it. You'll find the ins and outs of what it's like to be in the military. So tonight, we're going to have a special show because normally we have guests. Like we had John Nieder our first week. Second week we had John McAdoo. So both John squared. Yeah, John's. So tonight, though, specifically, we're going to have my other two co-hosts just chop it up. This is going to be a lively show, so let's get started. You guys, first of all, talk about yourselves. I know that's not hard to do. Or banter with each other. I just want people to see that.
We don't banter. We get along great.
Banter.
You know what I mean?
What does that mean?
It's hard for yeah. I'll say it's hard for a officer to banter. I mean, it takes intelligence.
Doing a great job, Joel. Keep it up.
Exactly, just like an officer, taking all the credit. I mean, we don't get any service inter-service rivalries because he was in the he was in the real military. He was in the army. So I mean,
the only service.
The only service.
The only service. Got you.
And our two guests were not Army veterans.
What?
Our two guests were not Army veterans.
Our two guests are not Army veterans?
No, they weren't.
Air Force and Navy.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Air Force and Navy.
I can't really talk about intelligence when I can't keep my helmet on my shoulder. I was a medic. I was supposed to be one of the intelligent guys. This guy was a tanker. He just had to point and shoot. In fact, he didn't have to get close. He had to hit it directly. He had to get close to the target, and he's good. And went boom.
That's right. On the way.
You go boom boom.
There are some hot topics that I wanted to throw into the mix to go boom boom, and there's some boom boom booms. So some of the one of the ones I'm just going to read it to you. But the U.S. Army restricted unvaccinated soldiers from official travel. Policy looks more punitive than operational. What do you think? What's your thoughts about that?
Oh, very punitive.
Yeah, big time.
Very.
And I know the CDC came out today and said what we did the last 2 years. Now?
Shocking.
Yeah.
We were wrong for 2 years.
I mean, when we were in, Tony, get in a bus, point A, you get shipped over, get in the line, get back on the bus, go back to point A.
When you say bus, you mean oversized chariot, right?
Oversized chariot, right.
Yeah. You got your
Everybody got out and go get their shots and go back and then go ahead and do training. You guys are doing great. What do we just get? We don't know. Inoculations?
I guess maybe
Each arm, same
inquisitive.
time?
When I went in, I actually had to ask questions because the last thing I want to do is get some penicillin shot, die.
That's true, yeah.
So I didn't really ask about every one of them because especially when you walk down, they're like, okay, you walk down the line and it's like thunk, 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 they're just getting you with it. But they give you a paper ahead of time that says if you're allergic to any of this, tell us. So.
I guess that's
it was always interesting. The one that said it was like, oh, you're getting your hepatitis B and you're getting your rubella or you're getting whatever. And then there was one at the very bottom that had a question mark on it.
Did you get the ones with the air?
No, we didn't have.
See, we had those.
Actually, they stopped using those because they found they could cause problems.
Yeah, they split your arm right down your shoulder. That's what I've heard. Never witnessed it. But.
I don't think I witnessed that either. I do know that they did use. I think they used those for when we deployed. I couldn't get it, but they had the smallpox. I think it's a smallpox.
I mean, it's like you're spray painting a car.
Yeah, the smallpox shot I think was a gun on it, and because it's like 6 needles, and it goes chunk, and then it goes out, and you have this nasty little scar there.
Do it all over again, Tony.
Yeah. All over again. All over again.
Hey, but you know, in the Army, you don't feel pain.
That's right.
You just, like what did it say, Marines, they don't die, they just go to hell and regroup.
But that is kind of interesting though with the article that they weren't sending people anymore
Yeah, explain that
that
a little
hadn't been
bit.
vaccinated. At least
Sounds like a good way not to get deployed.
I was just that's kind of the whole point. But I have a friend who is a flight attendant,
Mhm.
and she just went through training, but it was unvaccinated and vaccinated. So they
Different sides
trained
of the
them
plane?
separately. Yeah, I know, it was like no smoking when we were kids. You want to sit in the no smoking section of the airplane? It
Wow.
doesn't exist.
I wonder if they're saying now that they say the CDC says they're wrong about everything. I wonder if people kind of everybody who. Never mind. The show's really not about that, so I'm not gonna skip that. But you gotta wonder what people are saying these days.
Exactly. So definitely, now that that's coming out in those little, what was it called? Fragos is what I think the
Fragos.
specifically.
Yeah, a Frago is a change in an op order. So
Little tiny change.
A change in a what?
like an op order is like
Op
your
order.
operational order, and if you have a change or change in direction, change in orders, it's called a Frago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a 5-paragraph. This is what we're doing.
But you got it in writing. Usually ours is verbal.
Yeah, well, that too. How much is the moon going to be out? Is it going to be 100%? Can we see at night, or is there not going to be any moon?
Yeah, it's always nice when you're you're about to go out on a mission, and it's like 5 minutes before you got a little nice mission briefing. You have everything there you're looking at. You're going here. You can take this route and everything else. 5 minutes before you go. Okay, guys, completely changed. We're going the other way.
Is it usually like that? You're
And
going the other way?
Oh yeah, well, it's not always the other way. I'm saying this.
Right.
I don't think I've ever got when I was in Afghanistan. I don't think I ever went on any mission. I don't think I ever flew from one base to the other. Anything like that. I ever went according to what the briefing was.
Right.
It was always, here's a briefing, and then when 5 minutes before it happened, something always changed. We
And we
either
always
added
did it well,
somebody,
right?
we tracked somebody, or we were supposed to leave at this hard time, and then we sit at the gate
Right.
for about 2 hours waiting to get out.
Right.
So
Hurry up and wait, Tony.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
hurry up and wait is a common thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
you get to you rush around. You got to get stuff packed. You got to have things ready. You got to get things prepped, and then you sit and you wait for the officers.
Mm-hmm.
They have to finish their cappuccinos. That's one thing I remember on basic training. I'll never forget that. we would we'd get woken up and be rushing around. You get to be down there. Oh, we have to be down there in 10 minutes. Get everything ready. Get up, go down there. And we stand in formation. And it was a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes before those officers come wandering out. And sometimes you would see the occasionally the drill sergeant would go into the door and he'd pop it open. And you get a crack and a peek inside there. And they're all sitting around drinking coffee. Every one of them.
I didn't know what a cappuccino was until I was in my 20s. Give me a break. Good Lord.
Getting back to the vaccines a little bit.
That's because they haven't been in the machine yet.
Mm.
Yeah. When you entered into the military, you knew what most of all your vaccines you were going to take, right? You knew the vaccines that were required of you, et cetera, et cetera. What makes this one so different? What makes this one so different?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the vaccines that they gave you, the most of them have been tested around for a very long time, gone through the testing, there's information about it. You probably either got them as a kid or you knew about them.
Well, they were a booster from
They're
when
a
you got
booster
this.
from when you got it. There's
Right.
tested and known about. A lot of testing. Second thing was none of them were DNA altering, which the mRNA is a DNA altering one.
Right.
And there wasn't, they popped it out, there wasn't any testing on it. And it was the last part was the over dramatic push on it. Rather than just, it wasn't a, hey, here's something for you, you can get it if you want, figure out what you need to do with it, learn the information. It was, you got to get it or we're going to make your life a living hell, and you have to get it now, and there's no question, we're going to force you to get it, and it's all these things really took it above a step. So if I was in the military, I would be the exact same way I was here in the civilian world. So,
So, according to this article, the military is kind of following suit in terms of their.
I think they have more choices now than
yeah.
when I was in.
Well, I think
Sure.
what really made it big
Yeah.
was when the Navy SEAL said either you waive it for us, or we're all gonna quit.
And that's millions of dollars worth of training.
That's
over
hundreds
years.
of millions of dollars worth of
Yeah.
training.
Wow.
Just for one SEAL team. I mean,
And that's to try to push one shot. Which, by the way, CDC is openly announced, and so nothing I'm saying here is out of place. It does not stop the virus. It does not stop you from giving it to somebody.
right.
And the original shots don't actually do anything that's really help you. That's why you get to have 3 boosters. It's like they pushed all that for something that didn't. They lost a lot of soldiers and good guys that resigned, retired, gave up their commissions, everything because of something that didn't have any matter to it. It's basically it was what do you call it? You're selling air. What?
Yeah, and we already have a problem getting people to join. So
Speak to
this
that.
on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, making it 1,000 times worse. I mean, the military has changed so much since when I was in it, and I can't imagine what it was since you were in. I mean, we got technology now, and we no longer had horses.
That's right. What are you talking about? Come on, that's
I just heard a
great.
producer cracking up in the other room.
But speak to how much it's changed, though, Joel.
Well,
You're
like,
getting
for
to a
example,
point. Yeah.
For example, like it didn't feel like it was a corporation trying to please and be so PC about everything.
Right.
It was you came in, you did your job. If you didn't do your job, then you got in trouble for it, and there's consequences and actions to it. It wasn't about trying to find something and having your safe place in your stress card and all they're yelling at me. I mean,
That didn't exist.
that changed.
Here's my card.
That changed the type of soldier we had in the U.S. I mean, we're the only one in the world where where we have a stress card. Oh, I'm too stressed because you're yelling at me.
Put up my card.
You're in the military.
Oh.
You know, burn the card.
And it was, I don't want to say most of the times, but the people that worked the hardest were the ones that moved up very fast, and they branched off and they had really good careers. And now it's like you have to pick this person over that person. It just, or maybe someone might not get promoted because they didn't have the shot.
Are you saying affirmative action has hit the military? Maybe that's oversimplified, but
Affirmative action has definitely hit the military, straight up.
Right.
I mean, and the repeal of don't ask, don't tell was an issue because if you want, that's your lifestyle, great. That's your choice, whatever else. But the problem is it's like what the big problem was it caused issues for guys living in the same barracks.
Right.
And it made them uncomfortable, and it made that weird, and there's people out there, and there's a certain type of people that join the military that caused a lot of issues and fights and things like that to happen. If you would have kept it where it was, don't ask, don't tell. That's your business. You don't need to share with everybody else, and we don't need to ask you about it.
Right.
If they would have kept it at that, then it probably would have caused a lot of problems not to exist. And I'm not that I have anything against people making their own choices in that area. It just when you're living that closely with somebody, it'd be like trying. And I this might go in a direction I don't want it to go, so let me explain it clearly. You don't want to house guys and girls together, right? Because things can happen. Well, and you house somebody that's coming out a certain way with guys that are overly aggressive or don't have that type of mentality to not do something,
Suppress their
motivation.
motivation.
Motivation. It can cause someone to get hurt or cause other things to happen. And you get a lot of testosterone together, it just builds up.
I mean, even to the point what he's talking about.
And it's about safety for them.
Right. What Joel's talking about is the close quarters. Also read another article about right now Fort Bragg. There's mold everywhere.
is that Georgia?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina?
Fort Bragg?
Fort Bragg is in South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Okay.
And they have identified it. Sergeant Major of the Army came out and said, there's a problem. Well, I just read an article, because it was last week, they don't know where to put everybody. So, okay, you've identified the problem, let's move people. We can't move them yet for a while. So, I mean, you have
Yeah.
more things that, you know, people can get sick, and it's just,
There's more
it's a
issues.
shame to read stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues out there, but like I said, it's I just want to be very clear on my previous statement, just because I don't want people to come out the wrong way. I have nothing against people to make their decisions that way. I just think it put them in danger by going that direction.
Right.
But you're right. There's a lot of things too. It's a lot of it for affirmative action. If you say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, it actually puts people with good careers in danger. But there are some things too, I think, that did need to be corrected. I mean, women in the military were treated very badly.
That's changed quite a bit.
I talked to it, and that's a good
It's
thing.
been addressed.
That's a good thing, but there's ways to address it in a good way.
In combat,
Mhm.
being a pilot or other things, even, what was it, tailhook? You remember the Navy? The Navy pilots with all the ladies and everything? They had their, that was a big thing. It was in the 80s. It gave the Navy a real big black eye, because it had to do with the pilots doing anything they wanted, and that was real big.
Yeah, and well, the thing is,
You know,
and there's always a balance there. And I mean, you can call me old-fashioned, but women in combat is always a touchy subject, because as a guy, some people say this is chauvinistic, but I don't really care. But as a guy, it's my natural instinct to protect a woman.
Joel.
but that's,
No.
it's not just our military, it's a lot of
Yeah.
militaries, and the studies that they've done of the Israelis and other countries,
Yeah.
people rush out there if a woman gets wounded, and what happens? You have multiple
Exactly.
men going out, so you're like, oh,
It's
okay,
not
boom,
that
boom, boom,
it's
boom.
not that women aren't capable of it.
Exactly.
A woman's perfectly capable of going out and shooting a gun and
Right.
things, but there's also some things that they can't do in combat. For example, if I was out there in the field with all my gear, I weighed 280 pounds with all my gear at the time, and that's 80 pounds of gear. If I went down, a 170-pound female is going to have a hell of a time trying to drag me out of there.
Without getting shot,
And it's not
pulling
her
Joel
fault.
out of the way.
It's not her fault. It's just how their women are built differently. It's just that's the genetics of it, and so it's harder for them. Now, does that mean that they they shouldn't be able to do things that are combat supporting?
Right.
But I wouldn't put them in the infantry. I wouldn't put them in special forces where that's their only job, because, like I said, there is a psychological issue that happens to that. There is a physiological issue that happens to that, and like I said, there's just it's natural instinct to want to protect women, and at least for me and for most guys, and that of course doesn't go to everybody, but like supporting, there's a lot of things they can do, from medical to truck driving, flying
Transportation,
planes,
military police.
Yeah, there's a million things, and they
Air
all
defense,
support
artillery.
that, and yeah, sometimes they find themselves in combat. It happens, and that's why they should be properly trained. And there's a lot of women that are perfectly capable that did some great things in war.
Right.
I don't agree with the argument that they should be, there should be an infantry or anything like that. Plus, there's a group of guys that join the infantry that have a mentality that would not make women safe in that area.
Yeah.
So.
You raised some really good points and good conversation. It goes back to we're taught at a young age that, hey boy or hey girl, you can do anything you put your mind to. Well, you know what? It sounds good, but it may not be the case. I could put my mind to try to drive, but physiologically, as you mentioned, I'm not equipped for that because of visual impairment. So my mind goes as far as it can go, but if I get behind that wheel, my backside is going to be in jail. So, anyways,
in a tree too.
into a tree before it goes to jail. So, anyways, no, I hear what you're saying loud and clear. Hey, let's go really quickly to a sponsor. Of course, you guys know it takes a lot of money to have shows like this. So, if you like what you see, share, subscribe, keep engaged. Everything you can do to stay involved with Backwoods Brothers and all of its accompanying shows. Right now, watch this special sponsor. No, you guys, welcome back, you guys. That was wonderful, Whitney Signs. Make sure if you're local to go and patronize their business. They are amazing people.
Even if you're not local, come.
And if you're not local, come and be a part, right, bro?
They'll come to you too.
And they'll come to you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They drive out there. They do all this sort of all area.
Do they go to Afghanistan?
They do not go to
I would
Afghanistan.
say no.
Okay, this is what we're
don't ask me. I mean, I don't think they do.
Okay, well, this
I'm
is
gonna
what
say
we're
Mary, no. No.
This is what we're talking about next, you guys. We're gonna have some topics, and so one of the topics is if in Afghanistan, 7.1 billion planes, trucks, and weapons were seized by the Taliban. I don't know if you guys saw that since the withdrawal a year ago, and there's still some people over in allies. Allies are still asking our government to please help them. So fire away, guys.
Exactly, 7.1 billion with a B dollar.
Right.
Billion.
$1 billion.
I mean, I know that we had
That's like Jeff Bezos.
300 or so M48 tanks that we left behind in Vietnam. Not $7 billion worth.
Oh yeah, and I think several of those tanks that they got left behind actually were damaged and weren't
Correct.
workable.
Unserviceable, right?
Yeah, exactly. So in this case here, we left working Black Hawks, we left
Yeah.
missiles, we left ammo,
ABCs.
weapons,
Yep.
we left basically everything
Hummers.
our guys
Yep.
used. It's like imagine if your house was on fire and you ran out of your house, okay, and everything you leave behind you, which is everything minus the people, is what we basically did in Afghanistan.
Right.
We ran with our tail between our legs. So we ran so fast, our own allies were like, "Go,
Yeah.
what the Americans go?"
Why'd they turn the electricity off?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're gone.
What? No more steak and lobster at dinner?
Nope.
They used to have steak and lobster Friday nights. It was like, eating rubber, but hey, it was steak and lobster.
Exactly. The
I'll
brain
tell you,
thinks it's
all
real.
you need is enough of that A1 sauce.
That's
right.
This is so counterintuitive to what you guys are trained for.
Well, honestly, if everything we left behind, DMB, the equipment, $7.1 billion, we left Americans behind. That's the worst thing.
Yep.
Do you leave one American behind? That's 1,000 times worse, 1,000,000 times worse than anything else equipment you could leave.
Yep.
But no, we left Americans behind, we left equipment behind, and we let the people that we were fighting for 20 years take right back over, and we empowered them in there, and now that is a stronger safe haven for terrorism than it was before we got there. And when the next tower comes down, look right at Biden and his administration, because they are the exact reason why that happens. They are the architects of the next terrorist attack on America.
So they have the Taliban there, and then they have the ISIS-K, which is probably like 2,000 strong. But they had, I don't know if you remember, it was like Thanksgiving last year. They did the parade. Well, look what the U.S. left behind. And they had the parade of all the vehicles that had been serviced, or people trying to get up and use all of our all the weaponry and getting in, and they just had a parade of all the U.S. vehicles.
We
when
have when you think about it, we left a lot behind, but we have to replace that. Especially if we ever go to war again, we have to get all that equipment too. So that's billions of dollars. We have to get more stuff, right? That's one thing, and the second part is like I said, the safe haven. And then on top of that, we have our borders open.
Yep.
Where they can sneak right in, and you can dismantle an M4 and put it in a suitcase or something else and sneak it across that border so damn easy. You can take all that ammunition, explosives, everything else. They use pressure cooking pots and garbage, and they use fertilizer, and they use some old shells they had from the 80s, and they were messing our stuff up. Now they've got next gen equipment and explosives that the C4 and everything that they can use.
The good stuff.
Not only there, but they can use it against us by simply just transporting it over here, or they can use it against our allies. They can use it against their own people. And if we were to go back there, now we're fighting with them when they're fully equipped with all this stuff.
Yep. Remember the pressure cookers they used in Boston Marathon?
They have next-gen technology and weaponry. It's basically like equipping, well, and granted, they're not the best fighters, but it's like equipping, it's like trying to fight a third world country now. They're fully equipped.
Well, what struck me, what you just said, Joel and Jim, but what struck me is you said they left generation, next gen equipment.
Right.
That is something that just hit me right there. They left the best.
It wasn't the stuff that we scrapped somewhere.
Right.
Here's a broken M4. No, this is top end M4.
That's a rifle, Tony, that we have.
Yeah,
Wow.
the M4 carbines that we have there. They left night vision, Blackhawks, tanks, MRAPs.
Yeah.
They left bullets. They left explosives. They left AT-4 anti-tank rounds. They left Javelin missiles. Everything that we had there, they left. We didn't pull all that back. We left all of it. We left survival supplies to be able to cook for everybody and things like that. All those type of things that we had so they could support an army. We left it all there. We left the bases there. We left the housing units there around the base. They've got ways to house themselves, equip themselves, support themselves, train themselves. We left training information there.
Electricity.
Electricity.
Everything.
Everything.
We didn't haul that out of there. I mean, I don't even know. I haven't seen the list. This is just things I know were there that they didn't have time to haul out of there.
I'm sure the technology, the cell phone towers, all that radios.
But the cell phone towers, we use the local national stuff.
Okay.
That was built there.
That's right.
The Biden administration had done something that no other president before them or him would do.
Well, no, it's not that. It's they left Americans there. But the thing is, it's not the first time we left equipment and made bad exits.
Mm-hmm.
The exact same thing happened in Vietnam.
Right.
And so we had a template of what not to do.
MIAs, POWs.
They
And
knew
equipment.
what not to do.
Right.
Hell, wasn't Biden alive back then and saw it happen?
Oh, heck yeah.
He
was in his 50s.
Knew what not to do.
No, he didn't. He said he was in his 50s. I'm sorry.
I thought it was back when he was in his 70s or 80s.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
You can tell from the script, Biden.
That was awesome.
But they had a roadmap of what not to do,
Yeah.
and it's like he tore off the tag of that says "Do not do this,"
Mm-hmm.
and like that part was missing and says "Do this," and he repeated that. But then he took it a step further, leaving Americans and allies and things. When I say allies, I mean local nationals that were security checked, everything else, put their lives and their families at risk to help us, whether it's translators, whether it's people who give us information, whether it's people who worked on the base, things that were, hey, we will give you a visa or whatever else to come to America if you put your risk your entire everything you have in your entire life to support us and help us. Imagine for you watching if you were promised by the government, hey, we will pay you a paycheck, we will cover your housing, things like that, but all you get to do is go into this gang-infested area and write down things that they do. And I know you live in that area. I know you live in that's where you live is in the suburbs or the ghettos. But you have to report on the worst gangsters, and you just let them. They know you're there. They know you're doing it. But then when you tell us, we'll help you get out of there into a better place. And when you do it, and it's time for them to come pay due and say, okay, we're going to get you to a better place, they act like they don't even know you. Nope, good luck. See you later. And then you get to watch your family be slaughtered. That's what happened. That is exactly what happened.
Well, what bothers me about that, we talk about Joe, and I don't know how much of a decision he really made, to be honest with you. But if that's not the case, you have generals all over the place. Joint Chief of Staff.
Yes.
Making poor decisions.
Yes.
Even if they said, Mr. President,
Yes.
you can't do that.
Yeah, he didn't make this decision on his own, did he?
I don't know.
I think there were some generals that advised him not to do it.
Right. I hope so.
And he did anyways. But there are other ones that just the general that I think there was one general that carried it out. I say the officers that were complicit in it and didn't stand to question those orders should be held accountable to that. The minute where the officers on the ground that were there said, hey, no, if we leave, we will be leaving American citizens behind. Sorry, sir. You can shove it up your 6 point of contact.
Fourth.
You can shove it up your ass. Pardon my French. But we will not leave Americans, and I that is not an order that I can morally accept. We will leave when we have all our Americans behind him. You can either choose to support us in it and then court-martial me when I get back, or you can choose to not and then be accountable for that later. So,
J-Man, that was a great segue into the last question before we go to our sponsor, because I'm just going to add this one on. Do you think that there's some military men and women that offered and opted to stay and finish out the mission, even though it wasn't, there was no longer, the mission had changed? Do you think there's some that said, because you're so mission oriented and that's ingrained into you, do you think that some stayed behind to finish it?
I think they wanted to.
I think
For
I think there was a bunch that wanted to,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
at the same time, it's when you're lower rank, it's harder to make those decisions. You need the officers that are.
And that's the thing, you remember, what is it, Abu Ghraib? We had the situation with the prison, and who got in trouble? Was it the officers?
Nope.
It was the non-commissioned officers that got in trouble.
Wow.
Who was in charge of the prison?
Exactly.
I mean, so
It's disgusting, is what it is.
it's always the same story. It stays the same, but
The higher you rank you are, the more accountable you are. And the biggest thing,
definitely.
I mean, of everything on top of all of that, to like add insult to injury, to pour acid on it on top and fan the flames, was that moron sitting in the White House couldn't even have said, yes, I made a bad choice, it didn't come out right, I was wrong. I should have done something different. He's trying to sit there and sell it to the American people who see everything, think we're so stupid, to say, yeah, everything went perfectly.
Well, we have a great economy. We have a great economy right now.
Well,
so.
yeah, I'm not trying to get into the political
Yeah.
piece, so I'm just trying to get into the point of, as a veteran, how
That's a
I
hard
feel
sell.
about
Yeah.
what he did.
Well, that's the thing. It's a hard sell.
If Trump had did the same action, I would have held him to the exact same
You
standard.
got that
Yeah.
right.
It's nothing to do with his political affiliations. It's the position he made as a commander-in-chief. His responsibility was not only to the American people, but to be a commander-in-chief to every one of those soldiers as well. And every one of those contractors that were sitting over there serving the war effort.
He
had a responsibility and an obligation.
he's the commander-in-chief. He's the top diplomat of the United States. The list just keeps going. Responsibilities.
He crossed the line.
Absolutely.
And he needs to be held accountable too. He needs to be tried and prosecuted for treason. But I don't want to. He put him in a military tribunal. That's where he needs to be prosecuted as under military law. See what happens there.
That would be interesting.
Well, on that
Definitely.
note, I think we're going to go to our next sponsor. Watch this. Hey! Hi! Welcome back, you guys. If you were with us and you've been with us, we've talked about some pretty robust subjects, and you saw some raw emotion. I was just actually thinking, if you missed the last segment, you want to watch the last part of that, because my co-host Joel, as well as Jim, actually showed some raw emotion. A lot of times you don't get to see the behind-the-scenes thoughts about things, especially coming from our military, our men and women that have actually had boots on the ground in some of the areas where we would not go and dare to go. So you want to watch the last segment for sure. But let's just move along, shall we? Here's another one. Move along, move along. Yeah. Here we go.
Get along.
Rio Grande, okay? The Rio Grande operations.
Is it Rio Grande or
The
Rio
Rio
Grande?
Rio Grande.
Rio Grande.
Antonio.
Actually, these men and women saved a baby in a river of the by U.S. Coast Guard.
The U.S. boundary between U.S. and Mexico.
So yeah, explain that a little bit, because I heard a little bit about that. And can you explain that a little bit?
The Coast Guard's on a temporary mission right now as, pretty much my whole career in the Border Patrol. We either had National Guard or reserves, or our air operations would train with the U.S. Marshals. The Marine operations would train with the Coast Guard. And it happens all the time. So when I happen to come upon this article, I'm so happy, because a lot of the hard work that either the Border Patrol or the Coast Guard or the armed forces that are down there working the infrared scopes or whatever come upon this, 99 times out of 100 doesn't even make it to the newspaper. So when I saw this and I saw the young Coast Guard.
You trying to say that the Coast Guard rescued a modern day Moses?
Yes.
A modern day Moses.
Yep.
Was he in a basket?
No, just they were able to get him to the Border Patrol station. The EMTs checked him out, took the clothing off the child, and got his temperature up. But definitely kind of scary, since all of us here are fathers.
Most people wouldn't think about that because it's so hot down there and stuff like that.
Right.
But you can go hypothermic if you're in the water long enough, because
Yep.
the water, the liquid actually, well, when you're in the water, it's always going to be colder, especially if you go lower. But it actually, water removes heat from your body. It actually is an attraction. So that's why, you go into misters and things like that, or swamp cooler.
Come out of the pool.
Yeah, you come out of the pool, you get cold. You come out of the bathtub, you get cold. Water actually, when wind and things blows over it, or you're in cold water, it actually pulls the body from your body. So,
Push the water from you.
yeah, it actually, what it's not doing, it's actually not making you cold. It's actually pulling the heat from your body, lowering your temperature.
So you have
Knowledge.
Yeah, in that article you have, current Coast Guard personnel, the military, working in conjunction with Department of Public Safety of Texas, their state troopers. They have their boats. We have our Air Marine Operation boats and the Coast Guard. So when a lot of people say open borders, well, Texas is trying to minimize that.
Somebody figure out to turn off his notifications.
Oh, yeah. My mistake.
Definitely. So, go back to that last thought there.
No, it just, you have, a lot of veterans. You see, people jump the fence and break a leg, and it's just get to it. You go over there, you risk someone coming up to you when you're trying to help someone, throw a rock at your head and split your head open. So you're trying to help this individual, you have to try to get them away from the fence, preferably behind the vehicle you rolled up on, or an ATV, or whatever you came up on, a horse.
They throw the
Horse
you
patrol.
thought I was joking about the horse.
That's right. So there's so many things to think about, whether either on battlefield or by the border, or but having veterans there that are in a different uniform that just chose to serve and then continually serve and wear a different patch other than U.S. Army, and then turn it in their uniform for a different one. It was a good experience, and just having everybody in the Marine Corps and Army and Navy, it was a good experience. And they're doing a great job these days. They just have a very difficult administration to deal with.
Difficult. It's very difficult.
It is. Yeah, very difficult.
But
we're finding out the root cause of why people are illegally immigrating to this country, says the Vice President going down to Guatemala and El Salvador. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah,
I had to.
If she was in my country, I would want to run out too. Oh wait, she is. I don't want to run from my country. Never mind. I want her to run away from my country. Can we close the border when she leaves? Like, shouldn't lock the door.
The last time that happened was on September 11th. I don't think it's on Google. The last time I checked, it said that Senior Siege Report of Entry has never been closed. for longer than, a car accident or
We closed them for a while actually that day.
a failure to yield when someone steals an automobile in San Diego and they try to drive it south, and then the Mexican customs shoot at them while they're trying to drive it into Mexico.
Mhm.
Things like that you have to kind of close the road for. Significant.
You know, you kind of wish that you would get that on film and put it out online.
Well, I mean, when we were at the academy, they showed us, okay, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be sitting in a mid-1990s Ford Bronco, and you're going to be sitting in this location, and then you just see the wave of 200-300 people running at you. You're like, get out of here.
Mm.
That is not happening. And that's one of the movies they showed us at the academy. We're all like, I'm from Boston. I was like, what's that?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I was just like,
and that's when you know the biggest way to
Whoa.
stop that? Fire a few rounds.
Wow.
We'll turn to go the other way.
well, it's just they just go that way.
You guys, quick question. Where were you on 9/11? Do you remember the day?
Yep.
I do.
Go ahead and-
Where were you first?
Let's see. I was working on an alien smuggling case. It was a
Whoa.
twin.
You can't say that without putting some definition to it. Alien smuggling?
Yes, it's a charge.
I knew it.
8
Area
USC
51. I knew it.
1324.
Admitted right here. Right here. Area 51 is real. Come on, you guys.
Illegal aliens.
Yeah, I know. They're illegal because they're not supposed to be known about, right?
We had these two
Knew it.
1980s vans come through driving the wrong way on the Interstate 5 northbound. Got both of them. There were probably about 37 people in both vehicles, Guatemalans, Hondurans, Mexican, and I still remember to this day, gentleman from Lebanon. Okay, so we processed them. This was the night of September 9th to the 10th. And our boss is like, you guys have been working 27 hours. You don't have to come in the night of the September 10th for September 11th. We're all like, cool. Go home, get some sleep. My dad wakes me up the next morning because he called me, when the first plane hit the tower. And I was like, Dad, what the was that? And my dad was a pilot, and he goes, we're under attack. Hear my dad's voice. It was scary.
Mhm.
And then he goes, keep watching. The State Department just got bombed. I've been trying to find that article for years. That's gone. I'm no conspiracy guy. That's gone. 9/11 Commission's not there. And I'm watching this with my dad, just watching the country under attack. I'd already been out of the Army a couple of years, and short story, we went back in the next night. Who wants to go to Boston? Who wants to go to LaGuardia? Who wants to go to Connecticut? You guys are getting on a plane tomorrow. Who wants to go? So the U.S. Border Patrol represented and flew via C-130 in dress uniform to all of the major airports while no planes were in the air. On September 12th, everyone was grounded in the country except for the Border Patrol. And of course Air Force One, and I'm sure some other, specialty planes. But that's what I remember about September 11th.
Wow.
Yeah, never forget it.
Never
My
forget it.
my oldest was months old, so I didn't go. But yeah,
Wow.
I talked to the guys every day
Hmm.
for 60, 90 days we were there.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I didn't want to follow that up. I was working at a gas station. I mean, that's all I got.
Well, you know what? I would give you one moment to think about it
I
during
didn't have a
this.
TV till later.
Yeah, really. I'm gonna give you one moment to think about that because we're gonna check out our pissed off Patriot lineup. Watch this. All right, guys, now you see that line up there. Hey, we're talking about where you were or where these gentlemen were during the time of our 9/11 attacks. And actually, Jim said something that he will never forget it. I don't think there are many people who have lived through 9/11 and won't forget it, just like the bombing of Pearl Harbor and all those other times that our country had suffered great loss. So, brother, please end the whole show with your account of where you were and how you felt.
I was at a gas station putting gas in vehicles. I had an important job.
Contributing.
I didn't know what was going on until a little ways through, and then some people, you get information, people tell you. We didn't have TV, we didn't have radio there at the gas station, so. And then someone told me what was going on, and I finally got to see the video later, and I was like, oh, that sucks, and joined the military shortly after that. The end.
Why is that tied into the military?
Well, I mean, your country gets attacked, and you want to go anyways, and so it gives you motivation to go quicker.
Wow.
So,
Motivation to go quicker.
yeah, I mean, I always wanted to do military. It was, something I wanted to do, but, I saw it happen, and I was wanting to go, and so I was like, okay, I'm ready, let's do it. So, but yeah, I was working at a gas station, and when I heard at one point they were going to shut down all the gas stations, and then that never came, so.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. So people were coming in and running in to get gas. I mean, we were really busy.
Big time, like 1980s.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't have much information until I finished my shift. So. Yeah, that's about all. Yeah, I mean, I know where I was. I remember when it happened. I remember the people telling me, but can't follow up his story.
That was when I was young.
Tonight. Yeah. I remember where I was too, but it actually.
Where were you, Tony?
Yes.
I was in college. I was in grad school at the time, first year grad school, and I was laying down in bed, and I heard they had the old answering machines where when a person called you, you could hear them talking and hear the beep and everything.
What's that?
Yeah, right.
It's called a codophone.
It's called a codophone, right? I didn't know what a codophone is, but I was laying down listening to my friend go, well, it's a really dark day for America today, but we're going to still meet up soon today. And I'm like, what in the world is he talking about? So for some reason, I got the urge to jump out of bed, to turn on the TV from that message, because I didn't get a chance to catch that phone call. Turn on the TV, I saw the first plane hit. So I thought, I was in Seattle at the time, went to school in Seattle, so I thought that it was downtown Seattle. And for a civilian, I thought it was a movie. I thought that was a movie. I didn't think it was a real thing, disbelief. And then from there, when I saw the first plane hit, I thought, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to go out into the hall. And I lived in a dormitory, and the guys were all surrounded by they were surrounding a TV out in the main area. And I'm like, I knew this was something serious. So I went back in, stayed glued to the TV, saw the second plane hit. And right then and there, that whole day, for me at least, was strange because you couldn't hear a plane. I was near SeaTac Airport, and you couldn't hear a plane, you couldn't hear a pin drop. And needless to say, I met with my friend, and at the time I was a pastor, so we went to the church and just started praying for our nation. But it was really, you never forget that day.
I think that day, I would say the entire world, for at least a moment, had stopped turning, and everybody held their breath. I mean, one of the biggest nations in the world just got hit, hardcore, and America is known for hitting back.
Yeah.
And so everybody held their breath and say, "Oh God, we poked the bear."
Yep.
We poked the bear.
Now we're more like a little weasel.
Yeah.
But we'll be a bear again.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
as soon as we get the weasel out of the White House.
I hear you on that. Yeah. On that note, you guys, you mentioned something. I think that our whole nation had what we now coin as counselors secondhand PTSD. We didn't experience New York and what happened there. We weren't on the streets, but just by the fact that we had a no-fly zone over the whole country, and when you heard a plane that day, many civilians thought it was happening again. So secondhand PTSD came from that term of what happened that day. So it's a day that changed a lot. But we come back stronger, right? So with that being said, you guys, there are many veterans that are suffering from firsthand PTSD, and we always want to end on this to say, number one, you're loved. Thank you for your service, as always. And I hope that you, if you're a veteran, that you watch this show and that you're impacted to have more conversations with your fellow veteran friends around.
Be sure to
Don't be
invite
isolated.
if you're a local veteran, invite them on the
Reach
show.
out.
Yes, and guys, that you heard the veterans here. Okay, there's no better invitation than a first-hand invitation. So, guys, say that again.
You, as a veteran, if you're local, local being not just in Estacada, but anywhere in the area that you can make it out to the studio, please email us, backwardsbrothersllc@gmail.com. Send us an email, let us know. We'd like to get you on the show. You can reach us on Facebook as well. Send us a message, and we'd like to get you on the show. This show is open for all veterans.
Yep.
That would like to come on and, just don't take anything out that you might have. It's not about political one way or the other. It's not what it's about. It's about giving a chance for veterans to come out and just talk about what they want to talk about. Give a chance to give them airtime to share their thoughts of what's going on, one way or the other, to answer some questions about whatever the subject is at the time, and hang out with a couple other vets and then enjoy themselves. And so,
Brother,
Go
brother,
ahead.
you get the brother. Thank you. You get the last word, Jim, in terms of.
No, I just wanted to let everyone know if you're having a hard time, reach out. If you're having problems with claim, we have people that can help you with a claim with the VA. So don't feel as though you can't do it yourself. It's difficult. It's what it is, but we can help if you reach out to the show and get you
definitely.
Get in the right direction, because we have veteran service officers in Estacada that can help out and get you through whatever you're going through.
And with that, you're loved. Never forget, and good night.